I thought it would be a fun idea to bring a new weekly series here to my channel. It's actually going to involve my subscribers. Every week, I'm going to be asking for your overreactions after the previous week of the season. Did your team do something that has you overreacting way too much? I want to hear what you have to say. Every week, I'll make a post asking for your overreactions. I'll then read and react to my favorite ones every week. So make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications, that way you can see when I post it. I love to feature as many of your comments as possible. We'll kick this one off as the Alabama dominance over college football is over officially, and Georgia is going to be the next big dynasty. Now this one, I don't know if this is too big of an overreaction because I think this was kind of common knowledge. I think a lot of people thought that Georgia was the next big dynasty in college football. You know, considering they've won back-to-back championships, I think that kind of gives them the edge now. I know that Alabama has had a decade we're probably not going to see again for quite some time unless Georgia is somehow able to replicate it. Now, this is something that's a little bit interesting also because I've talked about this in a couple of my previous videos. I think this is going to be a down season for Alabama. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish the regular season going 9-3 and then potentially losing their bowl game, giving them a 4-loss season, which again, going 9-4, most teams out there would gladly take that, but for Alabama, that is a huge step back. So yeah, I think their dominance, at least for this season with the way the team looks, is over, but I think it's a no-brainer that Georgia is easily the next big dynasty in college football. USC is winning it all. Did Stanford look like a Little League team out there? Sure, but I'm in my delusional era. Now this is a perfect overreaction because I just absolutely love it. USC, they're looking good. This is a team I talked about this offseason being the playoff contender. If they were going to have any downside, if they were going to have any reason they don't make it to the playoff or the championship, it would be because of their defense. Now, the first couple of weeks, the defense didn't look so great, but this past weekend against Stanford, I like what this person put right here. Is Stanford a Little League team? Because Stanford looked bad. I mean, USC, if they wanted to, if the Trojans truly wanted to, they could have won this game 100-10. But they opted to really take it easy in the second half. So yeah, I don't know if Stanford is just really that bad, or maybe USC is slowly starting to figure things out. But yeah, I think USC is definitely a team that is capable of making it to the playoff and potentially winning it this year. Jeff Sims is the worst Power 5 quarterback right now. Now, I don't even know if this one is quite the overreaction as well, because this could be a fact. I mean, especially talking about Power 5 quarterbacks, you don't have that many options. I think Jeff Sims has to be the worst. Now, I haven't seen every Power 5 team play this year. I haven't seen what the quarterback play has looked like. There might be some random quarterback on a Power 5 school that has looked really bad through the first couple weeks of the season, but it really seems hard to believe there's been a worse quarterback than Jeff Sims, because I don't have his numbers in front of me, but he has something like, I want to say 6, maybe 7 turnovers through the first couple of games, so he's been horrific. So Jeff Sims, unfortunately for Nebraska fans, yeah, you might have the worst Power 5 quarterback at the moment. Florida State and Texas seem to have good wins, but since they were over SEC teams, we're going to hype them way more than they should be. We really don't know much about anyone else because all the other top teams haven't played anyone. This one actually isn't even really an overreaction. This is actually someone just being logical, which we definitely need, and they're right. I know we talk about Florida State and Texas having some really impressive wins, but it is early in the season. We don't know how good of a team LSU is going to be. We don't know how good of a team Alabama's going to be. Those both look like incredible victories, but as the season progresses, and they might not be as good looking as they are now. So although I do think Florida State and Texas are really good teams, maybe it is too early to say that they're top 5 teams in the country. I'm not sure, so that's actually a really good one. I like how we just had a logical one, and now we go to one that is clearly an overreaction that I love. Texas is natty bound. So yeah, all it took was a couple of weeks for the Longhorns to be in the national championship conversation. I mean, just a week ago, I don't even know if they were necessarily in the Big 12 title conversation. Now you fast forward to what happened this weekend, not only are they in the playoff discussion, they're in the natty discussion. So a lot of people are high on Texas, myself included. I titled a video the other day saying that the Longhorns are national championship contenders. They could be. I think they might be. Will they be? Let's stay tuned. Before I get to the rest of the overreactions, here's how you can make the college football season even more exciting and even win money in the process. I've partnered with Underdog Fantasy to bring my subscribers this exclusive deal. Use promo code Harris when you sign up, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. That means they're essentially giving you $100 of free money to have fun with. You can pick at least 2 players and as many as 5 to win up to 20 times your money. I've had a lot of success recently, as I've won thousands just this past week with pick'em entries. I won a college football one this past weekend and an NFL one on Monday Night Football. Underdog also has this special promo for new customers. You can pick Jalen Hurts to have more than 0.5 total yards for Thursday Night Football. If he gets just 1 yard, you win. It's that simple. To win money this football season and make every game that much more exciting, make sure to join Underdog Fantasy. Again, make sure to use promo code Harris when you sign up, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. You can also sign up using the link in my description as well. Miami makes a New Year's 6. Now, this is a fun one because Miami really came out of nowhere, dominated Texas A&M this past weekend, and they're 2-0, and they're looking really good so far to start the season. The last couple of years have been pretty rough, and honestly, they haven't really had that good of a season since, I guess technically 2020, when they did finish the season 8-3, and they climbed as high as 7 in the rankings that year. But I guess overall, when looking at the bigger picture, their best season probably hasn't come since 2017, when they went 10-3 and they made it to the Orange Bowl. So asking the Hurricanes to make a New Year's 6 bowl game, especially after the last couple years, going 12-12 the last 2 seasons, that is quite the task. But hey, after seeing them dominate Texas A&M the way they did, I don't blame anyone for being excited about Miami, especially if Tyler Van Dyke is able to play the way he did the rest of the season, just because a couple years ago he was a Heisman caliber quarterback. If he can perform at that level once again this year, I see no reason why Miami can't have a sneaky run and potentially make some noise in the ACC this season. 2 hot takes: Texas vs Florida State in the national title, and Colorado is going to the Pac-12 championship. I had a lot of people in these overreactions talking about Colorado, saying that they're going to win the national championship, they're natty contenders. That one might be a little too bold, that might be overreacting a little too much, but I definitely think saying that they're going to be going to the Pac-12 championship is more than fair, because you're not even saying they're going to win it, they just have to make it. And we get to see them play Oregon and SC in a couple of weeks. That'll be the first test, that'll be our first chance to see how legit this Colorado team is. And again, I know that they're going to be huge underdogs in those games. I'm just saying at this point, nothing would surprise me with this Colorado team. Also, I know I just talked about Texas being in the national championship, but if we get a Texas-Florida State national championship, this college football season is going to be absolutely crazy then. Ohio State will lose at least 3 games, including their bowl game this season, and be ranked outside the top 15 by the end of the season. So this is a pretty interesting one. When originally looking at it, 3 losses sounds like a lot, but he is including their bowl game, which means they could lose only 2 games in the regular season and then lose a bowl game, which also means they could potentially lose 1 game in the regular season, lose in the Big Ten title game, and then lose their bowl game. Looking at their schedule the rest of the way, it seems really hard to find that many losses on their schedule. The only games that stand out for Ohio State, they go on the road to Notre Dame in a couple weeks, so that game has the chance to be really difficult. They do host Penn State in the middle of October. That'll be a difficult matchup. And of course, they wrap up the season on the road at Michigan. I mean, I'm looking at the rest of their conference schedule, and I don't really think there's going to be a game that they should be on upset watch, barring just an absolute collapse on Ohio State's end, or whichever team they're playing, just playing the game of their life. So I wouldn't be shocked if Ohio State drops 1 or 2 games in the regular season against those teams that I mentioned. And then, of course, if they make it to the Big Ten title game, if they make it to a bowl game, they could definitely lose those games as well. So yeah, I don't think it's an overreaction to say Ohio State can finish the season with 3 total losses. All right, we have probably our biggest overreaction of the day, and this is a perfect one to end the video. Clemson will finish the season 4-8. Well, they're already 1-1 at this point in the season, so that means they would have to go 3-7 the rest of the way, and that seems very unlikely to happen. At least now that I'm looking at their schedule, who knows, maybe. I mean, they do play Florida State, Miami, Notre Dame, and North Carolina. All of those teams currently are ranked at the moment. Then you throw in some games on the road at South Carolina, on the road at NC State, Wake Forest. I mean, At first I thought this was a little bit crazy, but considering how Clemson played in week 1 and how they actually struggled out of the gate against Charleston Southern, who knows, maybe that's a realistic possibility. They do play Florida Atlantic this week. Now before I say that's an automatic win, I do think the Owls could be a little bit difficult. I still expect Clemson to win that game, but if you move forward from that, yeah, I don't know, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Clemson ends up finishing the year with like 8 or 9 wins. I think that's a more realistic possibility. But assuming there's an actual doomsday scenario that takes place and Clemson struggles with a lot of these teams on their schedule, because again, this is kind of a difficult schedule when you look at it, I don't think this person's overreacting too much. Maybe if this happens and Clemson wins only 4 games this year, that'll finally convince Dabo Swinney that he needs to utilize the transfer portal. Well, those are some of the best overreactions I saw this week. Apologies if I didn't get to yours, as I had way too many to choose from. Again, make sure to stay tuned every week so you can drop your overreaction and be featured in my next video. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting college football videos every day during the season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.